well, it just makes a more interesting video, I think. Yesterday, I didn't really shoot anything outside of our apartment, and normally I try to have at least one location where I'm outside of the apartment. I feel like it just helps move the story along and it moves the video along. But honestly, the only thing I did yesterday to go outside of the apartment was run, and I didn't film any of that because I wanted to focus on the run. As this marathon training like wraps up, and like I'm on the back half of it, but as the day of the marathon gets closer, I'm finding that I'm having to dedicate a lot more time and a lot more focus to it. Mostly just because the runs are a lot harder. Today is Easter, and typically for Easter, for holidays and stuff, Savannah and I try to make it a rule just to kind of stay at home, which wasn't always the case, but it actually, that rule changed when we moved to the South. And that this isn't anything bad, it's just a observation and something that we do for, well, our sanity. Typically with holidays, I guess this is true for everywhere, but California I didn't feel like I really noticed. At any event, for holidays in the South, especially Christmas and Easter, there's typically an abundance of family members around in a town that's already kind of crowded. So because of that, we're going to stay inside and avoid the crowds, and it's just mostly the traffic. So all that being said, today might be another day where I stay inside pretty much all day long, but I'm determined to shoot something outside so that the whole video is just not based on me. I didn't know that until I sat down to edit it, and I was like, wow, I didn't. At any event. I feel like for videos, there's specific things, and I've learned this as I've started to make more videos, and just doing it over and over again, you start to pick these things up. For me, it's always been more of a necessity than anything else, but ways to help keep the pace moving forward and help your video not feel like it's just stagnating and just like slowing down to the point where it becomes really boring. And one of those things that I do to help do that is either change camera angles, the focal length of the camera, or just the location. All of those are incredibly effective. There are other ones too, like you can change the positioning of a camera, or you can change the music, or you can have the music cut out. One video I recently did, I had the music cut out when I sat my coffee cup down, and actually one of you noticed that, and that's something that was very intentional, and it was an easy way to get out of a musical sequence if the chord progression hadn't completed. All that being said, there's a bunch of ways to help keep momentum going, and you can do it both in front of the camera, like what I'm doing right now. Like typically when I like fiddle with the camera like that, it's almost always to help re-engage you, because if you notice that I'm touching it and something's moving within the screen, then it's going to want to re-engage you. These voiceovers are a great way to there's a lot of them. But the most effective one that I've found so far has been changing location. One, for myself, because it's like you get new inspiration out of the surroundings that you're in, and two, well, it just makes a more interesting video, I think. One of the benefits of living in an apartment complex or some kind of urban environment is you don't really have to go very far to really change up your scenery. And even if you're in your house, you don't have to necessarily leave your house to change the framing. All you may have to do to just change it just a little bit is to literally, instead of shooting against one wall, shift to the left or the right and go to the next wall, and that might be enough to make your video seem like you're in a different place, or enough to like help move the story along. One of the many reasons that I go on walks and I typically bring the camera with me is because this whole show is basically a documentation of my day and of my life. So it helps if I'm doing something that's outside of our apartment and I have to like go run an errand. If I frame it right and if I present it right, that's a good piece, or another like piece in the story that helps keep you engaged. And on top of that, the changing scenery, the changing environments is also visually interesting. Instead of like just seeing like the same four walls or the same like apartment angles or the same couch over and over again. Doing stuff like that can really help change change your scenery. But I think an important thing to realize and to know, and something I have to remind myself of every time that I am making a video, is the next scene that I'm about to shoot actually going to help contribute to the story, or is it just going to be distracting? If you do it right, then changing the locations and that could just help run and push the narrative in a positive way. But if you do it without much thought, and if it just feels like it feels out of place and doesn't really make sense within the context of the entire video, it can actually have the opposite effect and just make it seem like it's confusing, disorganized, and you just really didn't put that much thought into it. There have been so many times where I cut entire scenes, like the entire 4 or 5 minute scenes out of these videos, just because I can't find a way to fit it within the video with it making sense. Like I just did a poor job of setting up the next scene, or a multitude of other reasons. So if you do change locations, make sure that you set it up beforehand, so that your viewer isn't confused, and because that can be really frustrating. Also, I'm not sure if this audio sounds very good because it's really, really echoey, but I really this is really visually pleasing because of the lines that go up here. Your eyes just naturally want to come to the center of the screen. And you get this really nice natural light right here, so I don't have to bring any lights or anything. It's literally, the only thing that was here was just that little lens cap as my tripod, and that's pretty much it. If you look at any of my videos, typically if I do this correctly, the B-roll is almost always leading you up to wherever I'm doing the talking head. Like 9 times out of 10, if you're watching B-roll, you can almost count on me always delivering wherever I'm talking. To me, I found that's extremely satisfying, and it's a great use of telling a story, but also while having another narrative be verbally explained to you. I don't always do that. Sometimes I fail at doing that and it becomes apparent, but 9 times out of 10, if you see B-roll, you can almost always count on me revealing wherever the talking head is taking place. Now obviously this can change if I want the B-roll to serve a greater purpose, for an example, if I want to reveal that I went on a run, well, typically I'll include in the very beginning of my morning's B-roll ritual or whatever, amidst with the coffee and everything else, I'll make sure that I have my running shoes or something placed somewhere, or I'll be actively putting them somewhere, and that kind of adds to the story and kind of gives you the viewer an expectation of what to expect later on in the video if they keep watching. Those things are subtle, but I think if you can layer them on top of each other, it just makes a more comprehensive story. And I think the more complexity that you can do, if you present it well, will just make an overall better story. But at the heart of all of it, I think changing locations is definitely key. At least for me, whenever I watch videos online and the location just stays the same, unless it's a review video, I get really kind of annoyed or really bored. Also, I don't know if it's supposed to rain today. It doesn't say anything on the radar, but it looks super cloudy. I'm trying to pull the weather up right now, but it's not. It looks really cloudy, and it's 70, but it's kind of warm. This morning I ran with a tank top, which I haven't done in probably, I'm not kidding, 8 or 9 months. I like it a lot more because it has extra airflow. At any event, I don't know if it's supposed to rain or not. Look at this Tesla. Location, I'm obviously outside now. You're probably wondering why I had my headphones in, or I still have my headphones in, and it's mostly just because I was supposed to make a phone call, but that phone call got pushed back, so now I have some extra time. So I found myself sitting on these stairs, just talking to you, waiting for my other phone call, or I guess my only phone call, to call me back. One thing I really do enjoy about living where we live in Nashville is it's you get a city urban thing to where if you walk a couple of blocks, then you get a whole multitude of things to do. But it's also it's almost kind of if you've ever been to Brooklyn, New York. It's what I would imagine or equate that to be, where like you still have access to the city. You're still kind of in like an urban environment, but it's a little more laid back. It's a little more chill, and like you still have like the suburban aspects of it. But you also have the convenience of a city center. That's one thing when Savannah and I moved out of California that I never really took it for granted, basically. I missed having, like, just being able to like go down to like a Target, and if they didn't have it, then I'd just drive 5 minutes down the road and there's another Target right there. I miss that immensely. I mean, not Target, but like the convenience of everything just being around. I've been making longer videos, or I've been trying to make these videos longer, and a large portion of them making them longer is having these talking heads. I talked about this in a video either yesterday or the day before, but I feel like yesterday's video, or 2 days ago's video was like 18 minutes long, and I feel like, I don't know if that was almost too long. I'm trying to figure out where like the sweet spot is. I think 14 to 15 minutes is probably where I'm gonna land, but if you prefer closer to like 18 to 20 minutes, let me know in the comments. It's something that I'm really trying to figure out, because I know like whenever I'm searching YouTube and I'm looking for things to watch on YouTube, if I see like a 6-minute video, but right underneath it or right above it I see like a 20-minute video, I'm definitely gonna click on the 20-minute video before that, because I know, at least the way I watch YouTube, I watch it as a replacement for television, and if I can find a video that's going to keep my attention for 20 minutes versus having to find 4 different videos of like 5 to 6 minutes, I'll take the longer video, because it's less work. It's less work on me. So that's the kind of thought process, or that's the kind of thinking behind making the videos longer, amidst other things too. Like with these longer clips, I want them to be like less chopped up and more like I'm just talking to you, and that kind of doing that also like lends itself to having longer videos by default. But yeah, just let me know. I'm trying to figure out where the sweet spot is. I like the longer videos, and I like doing this, but I don't know if it's just because it's new, or if I genuinely actually do enjoy making these videos like the way I'm doing it currently. I talk about overanalyzing things all the time, and it's so true. I overanalyze everything, including this. Like, I'm overanalyzing the length of videos, and I mean, also behind you, there's this little park right here, and just beyond that is they're building a dog park, like where like because this park is basically overrun by dogs. Which is fine, minus there's like dog stuff everywhere. So I'm yeah. It's been a couple hours, and we were just relaxing, like enjoying like our Easter evening, and I thought about one more thing for that I didn't really expect, and it kind of has nothing to do with video whatsoever, but it is one nice thing about getting more locations for your videos or your stories or whatever you want to call them, and that is, it forces you to actually go outside and just experience like life, like experience places that you maybe you wouldn't have gone if you didn't think it would look cool in a video. That I'd be lying to say that that doesn't happen like a lot of times, especially when we're traveling. It's really tempting just to sit in the hotel room or the Airbnb or in the apartment or whatever, and not do anything. But the pressure of like, oh, I need to make a video and I think this will look cool, or I want to go find a cool location, that's one aspect that I absolutely love, and I did not expect that when I started making videos, but it's quickly becoming one of my favorite reasons to make videos. That's actually why I like running so much. It's not, I mean, I enjoy the running, and I enjoy the being able to think and all that stuff, but I also really do enjoy exploring, and running's just a good excuse to do that, and it's faster than walking, and it's better than like exploring in a car. So all that to be said, yeah, I hope you liked the video. If you made it this far, thank you. If you're not already, consider subscribing. I try not to push that on people, just because if you're generous enough to watch my content, then the last thing I want to do is like ask more of you. That if you, like I said, if you made it this far, thank you so much. That means a lot. And I'll see you tomorrow. And I hope you had a good Easter. Also, the weather's like perfect. Also, this has nothing to do with what we just talked about, but during the entire course of today, there's like a food place like right around this corner that people like to go to, and this entire like block was covered with cars, and they were all kind of poorly parked, but there was actually one right here who was parked backwards from everybody else, and so literally they probably just drove like that and parked right there on the stop sign backwards. Anyway.